So when I got to the place, I was even late because Ghanaians visa interview they go like 3 hours earlier, but then I went like an hour earlier. So when I joined the queue and people had started moving into the visa office and all that, I'm like, let me just cross check my documents once again. I cross checked it and I had left my letter, like the visa receipt I had bought from the bank. So you buy the visa receipts from GT Bank and then you submit the application online. But then I learned they have to check the receipt when you go to the interview. So I had left that receipt and I didn't believe that I had left the receipt home. And I asked everyone in the queue, did you bring a receipt? They were like, yes, they will check it. I'm like, I'm in so much trouble. So I quickly left. That was about 40 minutes to my interview time. So I left the queue and I went to the security men. I knew the security men because I used to go to the embassy's library to go and study a lot about this US thing. So I was always going there and they knew me. So I was like, oh, I left my receipt. Would you guys allow me without it? And they were like, oh, the people here, they are some way, they will not allow you. And I didn't have any option than to just rush back home. And as I'm speaking, the only money I had on me that day was about 80 cities or 70 cities. So I was at that moment in 40 minutes, I'm supposed to leave cantonments to probably around McCarthy Hills, Kaswa, that side. If you are driving, it will take you about an hour or 30. But then I didn't know there's no commercial bus around the embassy. Like I was confused. I just didn't believe that I had gotten this far for this little thing to stop me. So I started running. Like it's like it has passed through my mind. I started running from the embassy towards the cantonment area.
So today I have some Charles in the building. You guys must have. Take it again. So today I have some Charles in the building. You guys might have come across his video. His video is so emotional. I watched one of his videos and I was touched. That led me to contacting him. And this guy is so down to earth. He was like, bro, let's do this. Let's just do it. Some people will be like, me, I don't want to do blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I have some Charles in the building. He's going to introduce himself and he's going to tell us one funny but inspirational and also a lot of things to be learned in this. Even if you've been denied visa 10 times, this video will give you hope. Yeah, understand. Guys, subscribe to this channel and let's keep going together. Sam, welcome to my channel.
Charlie, thanks so much for putting me on. I really appreciate it. And it feels so surreal that back then when I was in Ghana, like when I was working on this whole visa thing, I had dropped out of UPSA. So I had so much free time. So funny thing, during midnight, midnight bundle, I would download a lot of YouTube videos, especially your pranks. I remember one of the pranks where your wife, I think, broke your microphone. I used to watch that a lot. Like I watch your pranks. The one, your wife pranked you with the passport thing. It was the funniest thing because at that time I'd also gotten my visa, so I was watching it back then. And you have me on your podcast. It's very interesting.
So, what would you do if you were in that situation of your wife and kid destroying your passport?
Oh,
with a visa?
probably I would. I wouldn't. I'm not a quick-tempered person, but then I wouldn't really react because I know I would definitely get the visa back. I'll just report that I lost my passport and they will give me. I wouldn't have done anything serious. Yeah.
Anyway, that's just by the way. So,
Yeah.
Sam, kindly introduce yourself
Okay.
to the people.
All right. So most people don't know this, but then I'm an author. I have so many books on Amazon, and I'm even releasing some books very soon. And I also have a podcast, but I haven't been serious with it since I moved here. And I'm also making some YouTube videos. So I'm an author, a law student here in the US, University of Charleston, West Virginia, and a best-selling author as well. So that's pretty much about me.
Guys, Sam is a full package. A lot to
Yeah.
be learned. Please don't click anywhere. Watch this video till the
And
end.
yeah.
So, Sam, I came across your video on the internet,
Yes.
and a lot of people
Yeah, they've been asking, they've been
are
telling me.
gravitating towards that video.
Yeah.
Yes. So, kindly take us through that story again. The story of you
Yeah.
preparing for your visa. You went there,
Yeah.
and you just tell us. I don't want to give them the gist
Okay.
now.
So you know
So,
how
how did it start?
okay, so you know how people really struggle to get visa appointments lately in Ghana, and even when you get a visa appointment, when you are going for your interview, probably a week or two to the interview, you start preparing yourself. Like you get so anxious, and for me, the story was different. I had gotten dreams. You know how we believe in dreams and all that. I had dreams that I have a visa approved and all that. So I was really relaxed. I wasn't really serious about it. Like just go with the flow. So when I went for the interview, 2 days before the interview, I had just gone to print my stuff, gathered some few documents, and I didn't even go with a whole file. When you go to the embassy, people have certificates from their childhood and all that. I had just about 5 documents, my DS 160 form and the I-20 and some few documents. So when I got to the place, I was even late because Ghanaians visa interview, they go like 3 hours earlier, but then I went like an hour earlier. So when I joined the queue and people had started moving into the visa office and all that. I'm like, let me just cross check my documents once again. I cross checked it and I had left my letter, like the visa receipts I had bought from the bank. So you buy the visa receipts from GT Bank and then you submit the application online. But then I learned they have to check the receipt when you go to the interview. So I had left that receipt and I didn't believe that I had left the receipt home. And I asked everyone in the queue, did you bring the receipt? They were like, yes, they will check it. I'm like, I'm in so much trouble. So I quickly left. That was about 40 minutes to my interview time. So I left the queue and I went to the security men. I knew the security men because I used to go to the embassy's library to go and study a lot about this US thing. So I was always going there and they knew me. So I was like, oh, I left my receipt. Would you guys allow me without it? And they were like, oh, the people here, they are some way, they will not allow you. And I didn't have any option than to just rush back home. And as I'm speaking, the only money I had on me that day was about 80 cedis or 70 cedis. So I was at that moment in 40 minutes, I'm supposed to leave cantonments to probably around McCarthy Hills, Kaswa, that side. If you are driving, it will take you about an hour or 30. But then I didn't know there's no commercial bus around the embassy. Like I was confused. I just didn't believe that I had gotten this far for this little thing to stop me. So I started running. Like it's like it has passed through my mind. I started running from the embassy towards the cantonment area, and then a random motor just came past, and I just stopped him. Please, please take me to
But,
McCarthy
but,
Hills. I
but
need
wait, but wait,
Charlie.
wait. Were you like, were you running to
I didn't know.
McCarthy or
I
what?
was confused at that moment that I didn't believe that I have 40 minutes to my visa interview and I left one document. And my parents too, they had put their all in it, like they are expecting me to come with good news. Imagine telling your African parents that you went for your visa interview and you left this receipt, so you couldn't be interviewed. Like, imagine.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I was
That would be sad.
confused at that moment. I started running, like, God, please help me. I was confused. So I just stopped the random motor, like, please take me to McCarthy. I didn't even negotiate price, nothing. Sat on the motor and I started crying, like at the back of the motor, because I had imagined myself struggle to get an appointment date and just this one document. And the man was just navigating. He was very good through the traffic, left, right, like. So I think about in 25 minutes, I had gotten home. I got home, rushed, and my parents were like, what is happening? Like, how come you are? I told them that I'll explain later, I'll explain later. I went to look for my receipt, so I wasn't finding it. And you know how African parents take everything serious. Hey, you can't find your receipt. Whilst I am hot looking for the receipts in my books, flipping through all my books, and they were also blasting me from buying. You are not serious. You are not this. Imagine. So I was stressed, and eventually I found it. I had to jump on the motor again, and also another 30 minutes non-stop. When I got there, they were like, okay, fine, they'll allow me. I was already looking stupid. My hair was scattered, my face was red. All the people who I was in the queue with, they've been interviewed earlier. So I think I was about 5 or 10 minutes late. But then God being so good, they allowed me to enter. Charlie, I entered the first process. I think they would have to go through your documents if everything is intact and all that. And everything was fine. But then when I got to the first counter for the final screen, he told me that my passport picture is not the standard. So I have to go and get another one. I don't have any money on me. The last 70 cedis, I gave it to the motor driver. And when they told me that I should get another one, I was like, oh, can't they use this one? They were like, no. And then there's not the place to tell them that, oh, they are straight. So I came out, and you know that the embassy too, those cafe and stuff closer to it, their stuffs are very expensive, like extremely expensive. But I didn't say this. So when I went to the first passport picture, where I got the passport picture, I didn't ask for the price because I had just 10 cedis on me. I don't remember the amount, but it was less than 10 cities. This man took the picture, and when he was editing it, I asked him how much would this be, and he said 30 cities. I didn't have 30 cities, so I just said, "Oh, 1 minute, let me make a call," and I ran out of the cafe. I ran out. I didn't return. I went to the next cafe closer, and God being so good, I had a friend. His mom was also around that area. Like miraculously, she just appeared from nowhere, and I told her that this is what I'm going through, and she said, "Oh no, go and get a picture. I'll pay for it." Like miraculously, got the picture, went back to the interview. I was
But
so
wait,
tense.
I'm coming.
Mm-hmm.
Before you continue, so when you met your friend's mom
Yeah,
from nowhere,
nowhere.
she just appeared.
Yes,
Did you feel like, nah, this is a sign I'm going to get the
yes.
visa?
Because one other funny thing is that days before the interview, I had a dream that I had left a particular document home, and I normally get dreams a lot. So I had a dream that I had left a particular document home, and I also got approved. So when I had that morning's encounter, and I realized that, oh, probably that is it. Like this is a
Apa.
sign, clear sign. I was very happy. Like I was like, thank you, Jesus, thank you, Jesus. Like this is the sign. She paid for the document, the passport picture. I rushed back in the queue. My heart was beating. I was like, God, this is the time. This is the time. Went through all the process. It got to my intent. I'm like, thank you, Jesus. In the next 5 minutes, I'm getting a visa. Charlie, I went there already looking stupid, sweating. in the visa interview room, and the man was like, "Please pass me your document." I was just shaking. I passed the document. He looked down the screen, and the first thing he asked me was, "So why did I choose this school?" And I just started fumbling, like out of nowhere. Like I chose this school because I was just fumbling. And he asked the second question, "Who is funding?" When I started speaking, now he picked the refusal form, but I didn't know it was a refusal form. So when he picked it, I was like, "What?" Like he was not saying anything again, and just pushed my documents back to me. Unfortunately, and that moment when he said that, unfortunately, like it's like my life flashed. I was like, "Hey, like I've been refused." Like I never imagined in a million years that I would be refused the US visa, like because of the energy. And he said, "You've been refused. Please try again." And I was like, and he's like, I was like, "Thank you." That is, I just took my passport. And at that moment, I felt like collapsing. Like, I thought I might probably collapse because, first of all, I don't have lawyer fare to go back home. And I've been refused. I was so scared. Like, everything was just messed up. And I came out. I also met a friend I also went for the same interview with. And he also told me that he's been bounced. And that day, I was not around. My mind wasn't there. Like, I was so confused. I felt that my life had ended because I had dropped out of university, put all my energy in this America thing, and then you are just bounced. I just felt hopeless. I felt like there's no hope. So when I walked back, we walked from Cantonment to, I think, Accra. Yes, because we just didn't have the urge to pick a car back home. We were just confused. We
Yeah.
were just walking. So it was very
I know that
crazy.
feeling.
So we walked from Cantonment all the way to, I think, Accra, UTC or that around that side. And I was like, "Charlie, I don't even have money on me." Oh." And he had to give me 5 CDs to go back home. When I went home, the same day I went to sleep, like that same minute now, my parents thought that I've been approved. And I like to play a lot. They were like, "Oh, he's been approved and he doesn't want to tell us." I went and I went to sleep. I locked the door, slept for like 6 hours. My head too was aching. The sun was scorching. Hey, I've been bounced the
Oh
US visa.
God.
Hey, what am I going to tell my friends? And that time too, we were in groups. We had all these US students group. People will be posting, "Guys, I just got approved." Hey, and it's so painful. So when I woke up, my father called me and was like, "I know that you got the visa. So how are you going to go about the tickets and stuff?" I'm like, "Share, which
Ah.
visa?" Just bounce me simple,
so
cry. He was like, "How?"
so
Because he's a very spiritual man. He believes in faith. I'm like, "Charlie, they bounced me. They didn't give me any reason." And
so how did they take the news?
they took the
Your
news. My dad
parents.
was shocked. Like he was confused that he has done all the prayers spiritually. We've prayed everything, and I was just bounced. So later we were analyzing the reason why I was bounced, and I realized that there is a form you fill online. It's called the DS-160 form. People don't take that form serious. It's very common not to take that form serious, but that form probably approves your visa in about, let's say, 50%, with a chance of 50%. That forms ask you about your employment, your history, everything. And I realized on the form, I wrote boldly that I am not employed, like boldly. I wrote that I'm not part of any group, nothing. I was just thinking, no, 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 no. And the painful thing is that I had helped people fill their visa forms and gotten approved. And me, I was bounced. So I didn't understand. So later I realized that that was the mistake. I was like, "Oh, okay." So from that time, I was a bit calm. Like I was like, "Okay, I found my mistake." But the painful thing is that I had to wait to the next semester because it was August. Schools have started already.
Okay.
So I had to wait for the next semester in January. And I'm no problem. I'll do that. Started applying to schools again. This journey was not easy, like applying to schools, getting bounced and all that. And around December, I had a school I was going with. Their balance was okay. It was in Florida. Everything was perfect. I said, "This is the school I'm going with." I had filled my forms, gotten an appointment on 10th January 2023. And then on the 16th of December, I received an email from the school that unfortunately my admission is cancelled and my I-20 is no longer valid. I was like, no further reason, no reason why the admission was cancelled, nothing. I emailed them, what did I do? Nothing. And my interview too is 10th January. And the painful thing is that almost every school in the US were going on a break from 18th December. And at that time, it was 16th December. So you should imagine how I felt like I have a visa. It means like after Christmas now, my visa appointment, I don't have a school going with. I was I was messed up. Like I was messed up. So I remember that I had some admissions in some schools, one school in New York, and I just called them like from Ghana. "Please, I have a visa appointment coming. Please, can I get an I-20 today if I make an enrollment deposit?" They made me make that enrollment deposit, $200, and they were fast enough to get me the I-20 the following day. But on the I-20, my fees was $55,000. But then the first one was around 22,000, and I was like, "Oh, 55,000. I have faith. I'll just have to show them my bank statement that, oh, I have 55,000. They will approve." God being so good, the date for the interview came. That one, the interview, I was not feeling nervous at all because I've been through the same process. I was prepared, everything. And mind you, they didn't check the receipts that I bought from the GT bank. They didn't check when I came back from the home. The first interview, they didn't check. But this time, I carried it along the second interview. So I was confident and everything for the second interview. Everything was going smooth. Charlie, the woman asked me the questions about 6, 7. I don't really remember the questions. She asked me, "Oh, Are you married? I'm like, yeah. She'll be typing. I'm like, oh, okay, probably she will approve me. And I was just waiting. She picked my passport again. I'm like, what is happening? And she folded the refusal letter and placed it in the passport. So unfortunately, I would have to refuse your visa. And I was like, Jesus, I did this in front of her. I did this. I'm like, hey God, why again? What's happening? Because everything is fine. And I said, please, could you tell me the reason? She said, no. I'm like, please, just one. I beg you. I remember begging. I didn't care about those looking at me. I'm like, please tell me. And she was like, you are going for undergraduate, right? I'm like, yes. And he said most people come to the US and they struggle to pay their fees. So I should find a school that is lower. And it hasn't happened before. It's like a miracle for someone, a visa officer, to be honest with you. It doesn't happen. So when she told me that, and I was like, so if I go and get a school that fees is lower, you approve me? She's like, oh yes, sure. If everything is fine, we'll approve you. I didn't get angry. That moment I came out of the visa office, that same day I bought a visa forms. I remember that same day buying a new visa forms because I wanted to start the school that same January. So I started calling officers, schools, admissions, like, please, I have a visa appointment. I have a visa already. I even told them that I have the visa. Can you accept me and give me an I-20 today? They were like, no, 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 no. So eventually I have to shift it to August. So when she refused me, it was probably the biggest blessing because if I had come here, knowing the system here right now, I would have really struggled. Coming from Ghana with $55,000, it was crazy. So I applied to several schools. And the school that I'm in currently, I got it I had it in January, but the mistake that I made was I was really concerned about the state I was going. I wanted a state that had name, New York, like a state, Florida. But then my school is in West Virginia. West Virginia is more like a boring state. People don't hear about it. So that was the mistake I made. So it led me to that New York school and it's going to be bounced. And the third interview, before I continue, if you have any other question, I'll just wait for those questions before I talk about the third interview as well.
Sure. We'll go into it right now. I think people are following the story. That's why I didn't want to interrupt you. So I wanted to know, were you having a girlfriend at that time when they bounced you the first visit?
I've never, this mission, I started it probably, I had the dream since 2012, but then personally, I've never dated before, and people don't believe it. No one believes that I've not been in any relationship. I've been in situationships where you kind of get attached to the girl and something happens, you guys just stop talking. But I've never dated like nothing. And within that period, my mind was so hot that the last thing I wanted to focus on were women, and I wasn't getting them. Even when I came here, people see me, they're like, the girls like, but I'm not used to chasing women and all that. Like, I don't
because
really have that energy.
I was just wondering because sometimes when you are going through such things, you push everyone away. So
you need someone to talk to, and I didn't have anyone to talk to. I didn't have anyone.
Wow.
Nothing. No one to talk to. It was just me. I had to build myself from scratch. And one thing that helped me was probably journaling, like writing down my thoughts. It really helped me. Writing what I was going through and what I could possibly do. It really helped me. So back then, I even wrote a book about it titled "Those Who Are Alone and Without Friends and Support." So it is for people who are literally alone, like lonely. You don't have people supporting you. You don't have people to talk to. I was very depressed. Like, I was so depressed that you wake up in the morning and people you started this journey with, they're at the airport, they're in the US, and like they're posting videos, and you could imagine yourself with them because you started this whole thing with them, and you feel like, God, do you hate me? I remember questions asking God, why? What have I done to you? Why do you hate me? I asked God so many times, but that is it.
But one thing people don't know is you see all of these people posting pictures, videos about the airport. I'm going. Their visa condition is trash. Trust me, most of them. You get to the US or the UK and you realize you've effed up big time. So, like you said, your refusal was a blessing.
The second one was a complete blessing.
you would have been in a hot soup.
I would have been.
So,
because
guys,
I've been to New York before. I've been to New York 3 times already, and it's not a place that I would like to live. I don't know other people, but New York is more like living in Nima. Like, it's crowded, and it's chaotic,
and it's expensive.
Expensive to live in New York. Like, stuffs are very expensive over there. So people in New York, they barely live in huge houses. All their rooms are like apartment. They will not tell you all these things. They will not come out and say in New York someone can literally hit you and run away, or someone can steal from you. It's more like Ghana. Like, New York is basically Ghana to me, especially Queens, Bronx, Brooklyn. They will never tell you all these things. So that's one thing people
like
should
La Paz.
consider.
Okay, so now to your third visa appointment. How did you do it? How were you able to get it this time around?
And let me add this to it. With the second visa, the first visa appointment, what really made it painful, the first refusal, what really made it painful is that I think a day to the interview, it was a Tuesday. So no, it was a Wednesday, yes. So the Tuesday I had gone to see a very powerful man of God in Ghana. He's very famous. I'm a bit related to him, but he's very famous. People know
Okay.
him. So I'd gone to see him and he had prayed for me. Like imagine he has anointed you that yo, tomorrow God give my son favor. He's going to get his visa. And you go for the interview and you get bounced. When I came home, he had called and asked them, "Oh, how did my interview go?" Because he was praying for me that morning. Imagine, like, you ask God, isn't this man your servant that he's been praying for me? And you get bounced. But anyway, it's part of it. So the third visa
Yeah.
interview, I was scared because my dad warned me that this is the last thing, this is the last visa we are going to apply. If you don't get approved, he's not going to take any other excuse that we made certain mistake or nothing. He will just let me stop following this thing. So I was paranoid in the beginning. And prior to the interview, I had the most realistic dream ever. Like you see these kind of dreams where it's more like it's so real that you wake up and you're like, it's just a dream. So I
Yeah.
was just there one time and I had a dream that I was in America, like clearly, and I was having my visa and everything. And it's when I woke up, I realized that that is it. It's done. The rest is prayers. So from that time, fasting, prayers, fasting. I was fasting, praying, basa basa, like left, right. I wasn't on the internet. Like I just went off. And a friend of mine too, he had gotten his visa approved the January, but then it came late, so he had to defer. He called me one time and he told me that he had a dream that we were in America and he was telling me about using this marriage things to get a document, and I was telling him not to do it. And funny enough, when we came here, the same thing happened. He told me about it, and I was like, nah, don't do it. It literally happened. So I had that conviction that this is probably the time. Like I had it earlier. I'm not going to make any mistake. The school that I'm going with, I'm going to be final. Like this is the school that I'm going with. And that was also another issue that happened. 1 month to the interview, the school that I was going with had gave me a scholarship of $30,000, and my balance was around 28K, $28,000. I was like, this is the place. I'm going to this school. Like this is the final school. 1 month to the interview. So I had sent my documents for the I-20. I-20 document is a document the school gives you for the interview. That is the first document the school has to send you after admission. So I was waiting for that I-20. 3 weeks to the interview, the I-20 wasn't in. But I've submitted everything. They weren't saying anything. So I just emailed them that, oh, I want to see the progress with my I-20 document. And then they hit me with the news that, unfortunately, I would need a transcript evaluation before my I-20 be sent to me. And I was like, you never said this in your admission, and I'd already paid $150 to confirm my offer. Like I had invested my emotions to that school, and then you hit me with this transcript evaluation. And now those who know transcript evaluation is very stressful because
Yeah. Yeah.
you have
Yeah.
to send your
It
transcript
takes
to
time.
them over 20 business days. I can't change my visa appointment because to get a date in Ghana was very difficult. 3 weeks to the interview, this journey I've been confused throughout. Like I was so stressed. So I think one time I just didn't know what to do. Like I didn't have any other school as backup and stuff. And this school that I'm in currently, the fees they gave me, the balance too was bigger than the school that gave me the 30,000. So it wasn't even an option. So I was just stressed. And one morning I woke up. No, I was depressed the Friday evening. I told God that please help me. Like this situation that I'm in, I'm just confused. 3 weeks to an interview, I don't have an I-20 yet. And God being so good. Like, I don't know. The next morning, I just had an email from this school that I've been awarded an extra scholarship for no reason. Like, they just sent me that email. And when they gave me the scholarship and I calculated it, the balance was lesser, way, way, way lesser than the school that was messing with me earlier. And I was like, come on,
Wow.
this is the school I'm coming with. I called the office that morning that please, can you get me an I-20 today? And they were like, yeah, we can get you. Send us this passport, send us this. I sent it within 30 minutes. They had sent me an I-20. I'm like, wow, miraculous. And then I
So
updated my
so
visa DS.
so so can I say, well, men of God
Yes,
are there. They are powerful. They
genuinely.
are our spiritual fathers. But don't you think sometimes we just have to pray for ourselves
Okay.
and believe it's going to work?
Yeah. So first of all, I wouldn't say I relied solely on the prayers. This is how I see men of God. Now, men of God are people that have dedicated themselves to work for God, and they have a very close relationship with God. Like they are working for God. They are serving people. Like they are praying for people and all that. And I see them that they have more close relationships with God because most of them don't work. They spend their times in prayers. They spend their time in Bible studies and stuff. So they become very close to God. But then we are living our lives, we are busy. Sometimes we don't even pray for an hour. But the men of God spend so much time in prayers. And if you have a relationship with someone and you recommend, oh, I have a good relationship with God because I'm talking to God 13 hours a day, 10 hours a day. So we are very close. So, oh God, this is my son. Help him get this. God will literally like listen to me. That is how I see men of God. But then I believe that if I have the faith and if I put in the right application, the reason why I was stressed about this thing is I wasn't doing the right thing. It wasn't
Yeah.
spiritual. Spiritual side was there, but then I wasn't really doing the right thing. Like I had to do this and that, and I wasn't doing it. So that's what
Obviously.
was causing all this confusion.
But your last minute intervention was really divine.
Yes,
How
it
you
was
got an
spiritual.
email and the
Yes,
offer was even better
yes, offer was
than
even
the
better.
one that was stressing you.
And I actually believe that the third time was actually the time, the appointed time, because everything that happened, even getting here, the things that happened was just, it's like God was literally controlling everything. So that prior to the interview, I think about, I started doing the countdown, 28 days more, 27 days more, and as the days started getting close, I'm like, hey, this is the final interview. A month from now, I'll know my fate if I'm moving to the US or not. Hey! And I think one week to the interview, it was a Thursday. So the previous Thursday, I was just stressed because what if I go and I get bounced again? What will be the reason? And I emailed my admissions officer here that, please, I'm scared of my interview because it's next week. Please, what should I do? And she sent me a message that today they had a national prayer day or something. So she's going to add me to a prayer that God will see me through. And I'm like, oh, no problem. I'm happy. Like, it's literally calmed me down. So the time for the interview came, the day came. Charlie, my father called me, kneel down, anointing oil on my forehead. Charlie, early morning. I remember the song I was playing was Nasir's Asada song. That song was on repeat throughout the journey. When I was in the car, I'm like, God, please favor me, please. Prayer throughout. I got to the interview crowd, and the people I was supposed to go with, they had started moving. So there was no time to wait. And I was panicking again. But then one thing I did that really helped me was writing the possible questions, like the questions that I was asked earlier. I wrote every single thing on a sheet of paper, like the how are you planning to fund your studies? What is your plan after school? And I had planned answers that I would give. So when I was in the queue, I was just reading the questions and the answers, like more like a pop. So I was just reading it. And in the queue, I was monitoring to see those who would get bounced, like the people who were bounced. I was very skeptical about that day. Like I was just looking through. And I realized that there was these two particular visa officers. They were not listening to anything, like bounce, 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 bounce. But
Bounce,
then there was
bounce,
this
bounce.
Indian lady at the far right, like the very first officer. She was approving people. So when it got to my turn, technically I was supposed
Okay,
to go.
before you say that part,
Yeah,
I want people to know that you have a YouTube
channel.
channel
Yeah,
as well. You are very active on
TikTok.
TikTok.
Yeah,
Like you are almost everywhere.
almost everywhere. Yeah,
You help people with this
journey and stuff.
scholarship issues and
Yeah,
stuff. So guys, hit him up and he's going to get back to you.
exactly.
Too much emails and inbox and DM, so
It's
please,
too
it
much.
takes a bit of time. But
Okay.
this guy gave me VIP treatment too. I gave him the message, pa,
Oh
and he
yeah,
replied. I'm like,
I
hey,
respond text fast. Like I'm
oh
very
my
fast with
days.
text.
Yeah. So and also you write
Books
books,
as well.
right?
Yeah, I'm a writer. I love to write a lot.
Yes, yes, yes. If you
Yeah,
are enjoying this video, kindly subscribe to this channel, like the video, share the video, and also visit his page and show him some love. So
okay.
the Indian lady.
The Indian lady. So when it got to my turn, technically I was supposed to go to the one of the visa officers that people think that they are very wicked. He's called the white bald man. That is the term that people are giving him. So when it got to my turn for me to go there, I was the first person in line. So technically I was supposed to go there. So when it got to my turn, I realized that the person who went there had been bound for him to even start packing his documents. So technically I was the next to go to him. I'm like, nah, this is not happening. I left the queue, went to the washroom so that the next person would go there. When I went to the washroom, I didn't go and use it. I just went to kneel down that, God, please, this is the time. In the next 5 minutes, I'm knowing my faith. And I just stood up and I came to monitor. I just came to do some delay tactics by the washroom, trying to see if the Indian lady is free, because I just felt that connection that this is the place. So I just did some allo thing on my document, and I saw that the person who was at the Indian lady had been approved and was packing her things. When she left and I went back to the queue, that yeah, I'm the next in line. And I went to the lady. I'm like, thank God. So she started, oh, I just asked her how her day is going. She was like, oh, everything is fine. She didn't even show that she was ready for a conversation. She started asking, throwing the questions. So why this school, this school? And then she asked the ultimate question that made me know that it will probably be approved. She asked me that I came here with this school first. I'm like, yes. You came here secondly with this school, yes. What, and you came here with this school now, yes. What has changed about application? I was like, good. Now I had a fees that was just lower than any of the schools that I came with. And she was like, okay. And then she started typing, do you have any financial, you had a scholarship, right? I'm like, yes. Can you show me the document? And I showed her the scholarship my school gave me. And then she was like, okay. She just brushed through it. Do I have any financial statement? I'm like, yes. Showed it to him, like, whose bank statement is this? Is it my dad or the church? I'm like, oh, this is my dad's bank statement. I'm like, okay, good. Then she started typing. She pulled my I-20 by her and she would look on the screen, type a lot, and I knew that was the time. Like the fact that she's typing for about 30 seconds plus, it means she was entering my information to the system. And I was like, thank you, Jesus. Just like that, I was just thanking God, like, this is it, this is it. Then she sends the good news. So your visa is approved. I'm like, yes. And then she stopped.
Oh.
What is wrong? Like, she's like, what is wrong? So this document will show you what to do next to DH. I'm like, thank you. I snatched my document and I ran. Like, I didn't walk out of the embassy. I ran out of the embassy. Everyone was like, what's wrong with this boy? When I came out, I was gone mad. The security man, initially, when I went for the interview the third time, when I entered, the security man, the first thing they said was, Charlie, Uri Panabao. That's what they said to themselves. Meaning, my kohosama, they've seen
Regular
me.
customer.
Oh, Charlie. So when I came out and I told her, Charlie, their mommy, everyone was like, yeah, the mouth, yeah, the mouth. Like, did they give it to you? Did they? I'm like, yeah. And someone was like, oh, which school are you going with? And I said, oh, I just mentioned Harvard. Like, I was just mentioning some random schools. I'm like, the first thing I did, I called my dad that, Charlie, they've given it to me. Oh, like, finally. My dad goes, oh, calm down, bring it, oh, calm down. Like, yeah, I'm coming home. And that day, I believe I went mad because I made a video of my initial reaction of how I got the visa approved. Like, I was like, so I just got my visa approved. I was literally running, crying. Like, I couldn't believe I've gotten an American visa. Running from the embassy, like running away home because I didn't want them to call me back that, hey, come for your passport. That was the fear. And it was 3 months to me starting the school. So that was what made the situation like I couldn't wait. I was running from the cantonment non-stop. Oh. Now I found it serious because I didn't believe that all the pain has actually paid, like the reward. I've
So
gotten it.
you are just running.
Running back home, like
You,
from cantonment to police hospital around that side, non-stop. I was just running like
whoa.
it was serious. I just couldn't wait to get home. Like I just couldn't wait. Charlie, and on my way, in the car, I sent my counselor an email that I had my visa approved, and she was like, "Hallelujah!" She thanks God because almost all those who came from Ghana, like about 10 people who applied from Ghana and Nigeria, were refused. I was the only one. So when I even came here, they asked me what's happening in Ghana and Nigeria. I'm like, I don't know. She told me clearly that mine was a miracle. She told me like clearly because almost people from Ghana and Nigeria were being refused. So Charlie in the car I was literally going mad. Like I was crazy at that time. Like I had gone mad, ran away, ran. I got into a church. I just couldn't wait for the church to get home. Got home and I started rolling on the floor. Like God, you've done it all. And my father, you know how spiritual people, like church people, they're like, oh, he called me to the top. He held my hands. Heavenly Father, we thank you for your mercy and those things. I'm like, hey, that day I started packing my things. So the day I had my visa, 3 months to my school coming home, I started packing. I'll go with this. Nah, this jacket. Nah, I started writing lists. And the following day, I had an email just the next day that my passport is ready for pickup. It was a Friday, so come for it. And it was around 4 p.m. And I said, I'm going that day. I started calling the DHL.
Aha.
I was calling them,
4
they were
p.m.
like, they were
Would
closed.
you wait till tomorrow?
Charlie, I couldn't wait. Hey! But then I was scared that the passport had come too early. So I was scared that maybe the passport will return empty. So I was Googling, is it possible for them to approve your visa and then change their mind? I was searching about if it's possible for them to change their mind. But then I think most of them were like, it's not possible. So the following day, Saturday, I went to DHL and unfortunately they are not open. I'm like, come on, what is this? I can't wait to collect my visa. I asked the security man, isn't there anywhere I could get the passport? He said, nah, unless Monday. Charlie, Monday came by early morning, no, 6 o'clock was the 7. I was at the DHL office waiting. Like I just couldn't wait. And when I initially, like actually when I got my passport, I was like, oh, it will be at the front page. I opened my passport, the first page was empty,
And
and my heart
it
was
wasn't there, right? It wasn't
my
there.
heart was ripped.
The
I'm like, Jesus.
same thing happened to me and my friend.
I had to flip to and I saw that, oh, finally, middle page, oh, baby, crying, like, thank God. And people were looking at my reaction, like those who were sitting down. So when they saw my reaction, they were like, oh, they were happy for me because finally my face was on a US visa. Like, I just couldn't believe. I came out and that day I dashed the security man money because I was in a good mood. And I took a picture of my visa and I placed it on the heading because the passport, I was going to hide it. I will not let anyone touch it. So
Wow.
when I went home, I went to hide the
Bro.
passport somewhere. Now the funny thing is that every day I'll look at the visa. Like when I wake up in the morning, I'll just look at the visa.
Well,
Charlie.
it happens to everybody.
Yeah,
let
every
me
day I'll look
confess.
at the
It
visa.
happens to everybody.
Every day.
Once in a while, you go and check whether
Charlie,
it's
if
there.
because
Like you want to be sure.
it
Hey,
was
we'll
so
move.
sad, like how I struggled. I went through all these things, admission officers messing with me, visa refusals, and then you just get the visa, like true, you got it. And then I was scared that maybe they can revoke it because I was just scared. I'll do research. Can they revoke a visa? And the answers will be like, no, unless maybe you have some criminal record, blah, blah, blah. And I had a visa in May, but then my school was starting in August. They were like, I can come July, ended of July. And it was too far. Like, I'm like, come on. July, May, and then I had entire May, June, entire July. So I was like, come on, can't it come like earlier? I was calling the school, please, can I come earlier? They were like, no, it has to be 1 month. I just couldn't wait to get to America. I had imagined myself, snow. Oh, you come here, you are dancing, and no one knew about it. I really tried. Well, I did it good. Like I really, really tried.
But
I did it very
but
good.
wait, no, you didn't try. Please, who in Ghana is traveling will tell
No,
someone?
the reason why I'm saying that I tried is
Nobody.
that I was bound to Canada before, and the Canadian one, the reason why
Okay.
what's made it painful is that Canadian visas sometimes take about 2 months, latest 3 months. Mine took 1 year to get a feedback from the embassy. 1 year.
But Canada almost I don't know if they've changed.
Yes, they've
Canada,
changed. That was
that's how they
2020.
behave.
So when it came, they had refused me. And with the refusal, this was when I feel like certain things are spiritual. Because prior to the visa refusal, I had a dream. There was this friend that didn't like me, but then he pretended that, oh, he likes me and all that. So I told him that, oh, I've submitted Canadian visa application. He was like, oh, we thank God. Charlie, we are praying for you. I'm happy for you. So I think some days later, God is with me. I believe in God real. I believe that spiritual things are there. 3 days after I told him, I had a dream that Canada gives you medicals after they approve, like when they approve you, you go for
Yeah.
medicals. So I had a dream that I was going for medicals and I was holding the money for the medicals in my hand. And I met this friend that had told him that, oh, I've applied for Canada and stuff. When I met him in the dream, he looked so angry, like he was so mad at me. And then he wasn't talking. All of a sudden, he held my hand and twisted my hand, like he turned my hand and took the money from me. And I started crying in a dream. Like the crying I was crying was like serious. But then I woke up, I didn't really understand that, oh, something could happen. And when I realized that it was the visa refusal, I realized that I had told the wrong person. So for me, I believe in spiritual things that when you don't shut up, when you
Yeah.
don't learn to shut up, I also have a book about it titled Those Who Cannot Shut Up. If you don't know how to keep secrets and all those things, you mess up big time. The reason why I believe
Yeah,
that if
true.
you tell people your goals and your dreams spiritually, I believe that some people not everyone has the spirit of God in them. And if someone doesn't have the spirit of God in them, they have the spirit of darkness. And that one comes not to steal, kill, and destroy. And we all know that sometimes we tell our friends our dreams and it just doesn't work. Like the evil spirit, not even the evil spirit, some even don't know that they have this spirit in them. And you tell them your dreams and then it just stops working, like something happens and it just goes off. So me, I believe 100% in it. So I never told anyone. Even the day before I was leaving, that Sunday evening, I was leaving on Monday morning. Sunday evening, I went to meet a very close friend, like Charlie, Yami boy, we'll meet. Oh, we'll go here Wednesday. Yeah. The following Monday, I was in New York, and he was like, "Are you kidding me?" Like he was confused that you are in Ghana Sunday evening. Monday, you are in New York Times Square. Like it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
It's like he was confused. So I did this movement coded. I really thank God for that part because I was telling people that, oh, I'm working on US. Oh, any moment I get to time, oh, I'm working on US. But this one I did it very coded, quiet, cry. So I came here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great story,
Yeah.
bro. Like, let's say, like you are blessed. You are
By
blessed. We are
God's grace.
happy. You are also happy wherever you are doing
Yeah.
what you always wanted to do in life, and we wish you well.
Charlie.
I usually end my videos after 20 minutes,
Yeah.
but your story, we can't stop
Charlie,
it.
it's
It
a
needs
lot.
to go on and on and on and on
It
and on.
involves a lot.
But I wanted to go into how to like apply for scholarship and all of
Hold
those
on.
things. But this is what I'm going to do. I know you guys are interested.
Yes.
You've been applying, they've been refusing you.
refusing,
See,
yeah.
go onto his YouTube page right
I've made
now.
it, and people don't believe that I'm actually reading
There
law
are
here. I'm reading law here, political science. I'm reading law is my major course, and my minor courses are political science and government, like pre-law. And they think that I wrote an exam. I didn't write any exam, just my WASI results. And I even had a D7 in my WASI call maths. I had a D7 in my WASI, and then I added my high school transcript. Just these two documents. People think that, oh, he added SAT. I've been seeing people saying that, oh, he added some online course. Nothing, like just these two documents. And I had the scholarship that I had, everything. Yes. So it's very
Sure.
possible.
So, yeah. So, guys, go onto his channel right now.
My
I'm not
TikTok.
going to do that here. Please go onto his channel.
Yeah.
Go there. Please go.
You'll find videos on
Anyway,
it.
bro. Thanks so much for talking to us.
I
Thanks so much
appreciate
for sharing your story. This is going to inspire someone, and I know they are not going to give
You're
up.
not going to give up.
They'll get that visa. Amen.